Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today and Tarot. I am Mel Rose. This is the Tarot portion and the second half of my daily astrology post, the first half of which you can find on my other channel, Astrology Today with Mel Rose. The idea behind the second post is to bring further intuitive insight to the day's energies. I will discuss the tarot card that sits on the side of the page, then I'll make a quick review of the day's astrology before I play another tarot card, which may give us something more to think about. So let's get into it. The tarot card that currently sits on the side of the page is the Two of Cups, and the Two of Cups relates astrologically to the first decan, or the first 10 days of the sun's transit through Cancer. So here we are in the second or third day. I think it's the second full day of the sun's transit through Cancer. And Cancer is a water sign. It is our cardinal water sign. So it initiates nurture, it initiates connection where it sees it needs it. And cups in tarot are water as well, so that's where we get the sort of linkage there. Water, of course, relates to our emotional life, also our intuitive and creative life as well. And it has to do with that sort of bottomless well of love, from which love and caring from which we can all draw. The Two of Cups here, you see that two people have joined together in unity somehow. And this can be a romantic connection, but it can also just be a friendly connection, a strong familial bond, or a partnership that you have made with somebody in which the two people have a good deal of regard for one another. Okay, so it's a partnership that feels good. And you see these two people in sort of different colors with different sort of wreaths around their heads, and they are approaching one another as equals. Okay, so there's an interest in sort of balance in this relationship, and these two people seek to honor and respect one another in the partnership. The caduceus in the middle here sort of indicates that energy, that vibe of two becoming one, and it can bring a lot of sort of passion into the situation as well. It can be sexual, but it doesn't have to be. And basically, we're looking sort of at the mingling of complementary opposites. Sometimes we find ourselves in these relationships or these partnerships with people that might even seem like sort of an odd match for us, but because we are so different from one another, we tend to get along really well. And you see the two here. Two always represents balance. You have two people, two cups, the Roman numeral 2 at the top here. But something else I'm noticing in this card is this little small green rolling hill in the back with a little house. And it really reminds me of the scene in the Ten of Cups where people, are celebrating this sort of complete emotional fulfillment. But this isn't the emotional fulfillment. This is the start. This is the beginning of that emotional connection from which we can create a more fulfilling future. And with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and shuffle my cards while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Cancer now. So we are just a couple days also past the sun's culminative point of the year, the summer solstice. That is a holiday on the wheel of the year when we celebrate the longest day of the year. That is the sun's peak influence. And now, although the sun is still very close to its peak influence, we're still, experiencing all of that extra sunlight and warmth and heat that we do at this time of year. It's going to start to wane at this time. So you'll start after now to see the sun go down a little earlier in the evening, come up a little later in the morning. We've reached its culmination for the year, and so now it's just going to start to fade away from us. But slowly. It's still summer. We haven't even reached midsummer yet. So, sun in Cancer, this is a time when we become a little more homebody, a little more interested in what's going on in the heart and the home. We're a little more emotional and attached. We feel more attached to those things, those people and things that we keep close to us on purpose, and protective. Cancer is represented by the crab, and the crab has a protective shell around it. So very protective of the self and very protective of those people and things that we like to keep around us. Very interested, again, in the peace of our heart and home. Cancer rules the moon, so it's sort of like our sun life, our express life, our outer life is still somehow focused on finding that peace at home. On the moon side, the moon is a waning crescent in Aries this morning, moving into Taurus. So we're still in that time of active decrease where we seek to lose, push out, get rid of any outdated thoughts, attitudes, and dispositions that are no longer working for us, as well as stuff. And especially when the moon is in Taurus, I can just sort of visualize us cleaning our houses, feeling a little bit compelled to get everything sort of nice and clean, as close as we can come in our homes to a blank slate, so that when we have that new moon in Cancer on Tuesday, we can pause in peace and quiet and reflect and think about the moment before we start moving forward. So it's a good time to be actively clearing out the clutter, and I wouldn't be surprised if we're all not just feeling that a little bit. On the moon side today, moon went square to Pluto at 3 o'clock this morning. And that's a void of course moon, so it's making its last aspect in the sign of Aries before it moves over into Taurus. Moon square Pluto, can be a tough one. It's sort of a potential for difficult insight. When moon goes into aspect with Pluto, we tend to have insights or deep recollections or just deep observations, things that we wouldn't have noticed before, insights that come up for us. And, with that square, it just says that might be a little challenging. There might be something difficult that comes into our hearts that almost makes us angry, or makes us very sad, and makes us want to act in some sort of destructive kind of way. The void, of course, is 3 or 4 hours here through 7 o'clock this morning. So that's a good time to turn to meditation, journaling, looking at your tarot cards, or whatever your creative or intuitive practices are that help you have those conversations, those important conversations with yourself and with spirit regarding what it is that's coming up for us. This is a good time to sort of do the self-talk, the self-therapy, okay? And then after that, moon goes into Taurus. So, moon in Aries always speeds things up and wants to get a lot done. Moon in Taurus invites us to slow down and just follow through on what we have started. So that's really good vibe for that time, especially just coming into the morning. Moon goes into Taurus like at 7 o'clock this morning. So if you're getting your day started, probably it's around the time that the moon's about to go into Taurus. So, don't forget, just slow down and follow through. There's no need to hurry at this time. I don't like to hurry. I do have hustle. If I know I'm running behind, I will pick up my speed a little bit. But hurrying, and especially when the moon in Taurus, is probably not the best idea. Just put one foot in front of the other, and have faith in yourself to get where you're going. On the sun side of the page today, sun goes sextile to moon, and that's an indicator of this waning crescent moon. And it also brings together some our outer life and our inner life, our expressed life and our feeling life, in a more cooperative vibration, so we can work well with ourselves to take care of the business we need to take care of. In the ongoing column, we just have a whole pile of aspects again, so I didn't put any explanations in there. You're going to see Pluto twice, Sun and Venus. Sun and Venus are our major players here, okay? So this is our outer life, our expressed life, how we interact with the rest of the world. And Venus is, it's our attractive or receptive quality. It's that part of us that, when we desire something, we seek to pull it toward us, right? So these are our basic people, and then they're our basic players, and then they are both in aspect with Saturn, Neptune, and Pluto together at the same time. And it's kind of like where the sun is having a positive aspect with Saturn here, saying, whatever it is that you're working on in your outer life, just go ahead and keep working on it, because it is bound to bear positive fruit for you with that trine aspect, right? Trine aspect is practically a blessing from on high that says, whatever you're doing here, keep doing it. And it also says you don't really have to worry about what's going on in the inner life, as long as you keep working toward that sense of current and future stability. You'll see good returns, good rewards. But then Sun has this difficult aspect with Neptune, saying this might sap our motivation, may sap our desire to move forward. But we have to remember that blessing with the trine that says, even if you have this illusion that your motivation is being sapped, every step you make in the direction of your own security is really going to bear better fruit for you than you even know. And then, where the Sun is having this difficult aspect with Neptune, Venus is having a good aspect with Neptune. Venus is working with our fantasy life and saying, yeah, let's fantasize about those opulent and shiny things that we would like to have, those things that will sort of act as symbols for us that we have gained the stability that we seek through our efforts. Sun is quincunx to Pluto right now. This is a variable outcome, and it basically says it's sort of up to you how you encounter things. If you have a problem that comes up, on a regular basis, it's time to look for a better, more efficient or final way to handle the problem. And at the same time, Venus has this really positive trine aspect with Pluto, saying whoever we're spending our time with, even though Venus is square to Saturn right now, saying we're not necessarily getting everything we need from those close relationships. Venus trine to Pluto says we feel more passionately attached to those people that we spend our time with as well. So, sort of a couple of challenging aspects in there and a couple of really positive ones, and I think the underscore here is, keep looking to solve those problems, keep working on that personal stability for the now and for the future, keep dreaming about what it is that you would like to have in that stable future, and understand that your romantic attachments and also your relationship to your finances is growing strong at this time. Pluto is retrograde through October 8. Saturn is retrograde through October 22. These are both right now looking at our internal structures for support, the habits we lean on, the privileges that we lean on, the socially and personally. And we have to look at them and see, do they still really hold us up? Are they still really very supportive to us? And if they hold us up, do they hold up the people around us as well? Because if something, especially if something social is supporting me, but it is stripping the support of other people, then it's not a really good support, is it? Then we need to pull back and seek that security in a different way. Mercury is sextile to Jupiter through the 24th. And this is, our personal intellect, the way we think, plan, and communicate for on the day-to-day in a very cooperative vibration here with our planet for growth and expansion, right? For higher education and for bigger business and for travel abroad. So whatever your bigger, better idea, your more expanded version of yourself is, Mercury is working together with that big plan at this time. So it's a good time to be focusing on what the big plan is and what you'd like to get out of it, because that cooperative vibration will bring us good things. Okay, and with all of that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn this card. Oh, my friends, we got the World. Okay, well, the World is a really positive sign. It is a point of completion. Okay, so I was talking in the first part of this video blog over on Astrology Today with Mel Rose. With the Pluto retrograde, I was talking about the fact that we are in Pluto's return for the United States. The return happens every 248 years. So it's not something that individual people can really experience for themselves, but it is something that nations experience. And it's something that comes up a lot. Like the Pluto return for France culminated in the French Revolution, which happened right before the United States had we had our war for independence. So here we are, 248 years into the United States as a government and as a culture or a society, and we are experiencing our return. And if we look back those 248 years, there was a lot of upheaval, there was a lot of unrest, there was a lot of sort of violence out in society and culture, and a lot of people with different ideas about what we were trying to do and what we were trying to make of this sort of new world experience. So here we are. We've come to this point of completion, right? We see how the last 248 years have gone. We're going to go ahead and, move boldly forward into the next 248 years, okay? But understand, something comes to an end here, and something coming to an end here begins again down the road. Pluto is in Capricorn and has been for 25 years, so 25 or more years. So, that's been bringing changes to our institutions and traditions, complete and total changes. So if you were alive 25 years ago and aware of what was going on in the world, you can tell, just like I can, you can look back and see that almost everything we thought of as foundational, almost everything we thought would last forever, that was not questionable, that would never come under review or overhaul, is now doing so, right? Institutions fall, traditions change because they don't work for us anymore. And that is the work Pluto has been doing in our lives the last 25 years as we come to this Pluto return. Pluto retrograde puts those transformational vibes on our inner lives. It feels very personal. We're all having these deep and total changes happening to us in our hearts and minds, and each of us is having an experience that nobody else can have, but we are all going through this transformative experience right now. Okay, so we are all at the end of a cycle and beginning and thinking about how we're going to build something new in the future. And speaking of the future, Pluto moves out of Capricorn finally next March next March in 2023, and it moves into Aquarius. So then we're going to start bringing complete and total change to sort of even more so to our social structures. We're going to take a more Aquarian view toward endings and beginnings, and it's going to be about those things that we end and begin having to do with the greater good. So that sounds like good news to me, and if you want to try to hop on that train in advance and start thinking about the greater good in advance, it couldn't hurt to sort of gain that positive perspective and positive sort of approach to going through these deep and total changes that we're going through. We are becoming something new, each and all of us, okay? So yeah, full circle, that's what the world is. That it's the end of the major arcana. We go from the Fool to the World, and then back again to the Fool. Okay, so we realize that we're in a place of completion. It feels really good. We learned what we came here to learn, even if we didn't know what that was back when we were fools, right? And we gathered to us all of the sort of rewards and badges and scars that came with what we came to learn. And so that, in that we feel very strong, we feel very knowledgeable and capable. We also understand that with the world being the end of a cycle, it's time to also start looking forward to a time when we can move our efforts and our hearts and minds into a new set of goals for which we don't have all of the answers, right? We get to become fools again all over. So I see that in the Pluto return and also in Pluto retrograde, just those beginnings and endings that we're all going through. Pluto's always saying, in some way, in some part of our lives, Pluto is always saying, okay, we've learned everything we needed to learn about this, and now we're going to start over again, right? So look at those places in your life where you're experiencing ends. Look at those experiences you're having in your life right now, where you might be making a fresh start on something that you never thought or believed that you would make a fresh start on, or that you would never try or start to do, but here you are, right? So that's the work of Pluto in our lives, bringing about, an end to something that we know very well, so that we can make a fresh start on something new that we don't know so well yet. And taken together with the Two of Cups, the Two of Cups is a beginning, right? This is sort of a gesture of unity, of friendship, of partnership. And it talks a little bit, you see that house on the hill, about, the potential that exists in this regard that these two people have for one another, this respect, and honor that these people have for one another. So there is, there's a beginning and there's an ending to every story, right? There's a completion, at least. It doesn't mean necessarily that there's a beginning and an ending to that relationship. Okay, it's just that this relationship makes a start, and if we remain engaged in that relationship, in that partnership, in good faith, then we will be able to bring to fruition the potential of that relationship. We're going to be able to bring, what is abundantly available to us if we remain positively engaged, to a fullness, to a point of completion, and then perhaps even with that person still by our side, we'll be able to start anew. So that looks like a really good tiding to me. And I think that's all I have to say about it today, friends. Thank you so much for joining me. I truly appreciate your presence with me in the morning. My name is Mel Rose, and I'll see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today and Tarot.